Google, Google Sites along with Google Classroom. And so somebody noted, you know, it seems kind of redundant, and it can. I mean, I get that, depending on how you share your content and what you're sharing. But it can also provide you with a avenue to be able to have a public facing site where your parents and students can see information, along with linking back to your classroom where your awesome Sarge. So Sarge has space and his room is up and running. So you guys make your own decisions. I am recording, so if you miss this little part, it's okay. So what I'm seeing a lot of teachers will do is so what I'm seeing is a lot of teachers have done a couple different things. One, they've always had a website and they've moved to Google Classroom this year. And so they're like, well, I don't, I have everything built on my website. How do I make that transition? At that point, you can remember I've talked a lot about clicking on the 3 dots and copying the link. You can copy the link to any published assignment and share it anywhere. So I've shared them a lot in our chat, but I could also link them to a website. The other way I've seen it is people who have not ever really used a website, but they're using Google Classroom, and they find that they need to be able to communicate with parents a little bit more, and also they want to be able to have a more visual presentation of their resources. And so a website gives that functionality to be able to link back and forth. And so you can use both very successfully. The really nice thing is, because when I've shared any of these, either the link to a topic or the link to an assignment, whenever I share those, if you guys are not in the class, you can't see anything. And so anything that I link out publicly, if you're not in the class, it isn't really public. You have to be logged into Google Classroom and a member of the course. So that's another thing that, if you think about it, it can give you that, public-private kind of option to be able to do that. So the plan for you guys is to just make sure that you have the information if you want to build a website, you can do that. I asked a question so that you have that opportunity to share your website and kind of your thoughts on it and what you used. I've had a number of people in the earlier class that were using the old Google Sites. And so one of the things to be aware of with the old Google Sites is it is after November, you can no longer create a new site. And after next September, they're going to be going away. And so if you want to transfer them, I do have the instructions for how to do that. And a number of people transitioned their sites over and it worked really slick. So that was kind of fun. So I will drop that in the chat. And so I dropped that in the chat so that if you have a classic Google Sites, and I can go through those instructions if anybody does want to look at them, because it doesn't take very long to do, and if it gets it over them. How do you know if you have a classic versus a new? That's a great question. Here, I can show you. Let me close these. So when we go to Google Sites now, so when you go to Google Sites, and I will drop in and click on So we're near one of the new Google sites. It looks like this. I mean, and so you've got it's got a lot of images and a lot of graphics. When we switch over to classic sites, this is what your homepage looks like. And you'll see that there's an option for a new Google Sites. So if I click in on any one of them, and so this one I think is a fairly, I think I pulled this over from a wiki, so it's not very fancy, but that's what that one looked like. The fine art standards, I had somebody who couldn't access a wiki, and so that's where this one is pulled over from. So none of them are super, super cool, that's for sure. But if I want to switch them, I can do that by going into my site, clicking on the gear in the upper right corner, and then you're going to see settings, or you're going to see manage site. I'm sorry, manage site. And then once you do that, it's going to open up a new page. And at the very bottom on the left, it says convert to new Google Sites. In this morning session with the middle school, there were quite a few people who had classic Google Sites, and they transitioned, and they found that some of the, it's kind of like converting a Word document to a Google Doc. Some of the formatting came in wonky. And so you may need to, update that, but everything came over. So that was really nice. So that is so that's the difference between a classic site and a new Google Sites. And I didn't know until just recently that they were actually phasing out the old Google Sites. So you see manage extensions. Okay. So Shannon, where are you? Are you on your site? Okay. Are you do you have an old site or a new site? That's okay. Okay. um, so we can, okay, I'll look. Yeah, why don't you? Would you be willing to share your screen, Shannon? Oh, she has a new site, Elke says. Okay, thank you. So if you have a new site, you don't have to do any transitions. And the old sites, you will know when you go in to edit an old site, because an old site does not look anything like a new site for editing it. It looks very much like an old site. No, it's not nearly as polished, and you don't have as many options. So okay. So you have a new site. Yay. All right. So what the main project for today is, you guys are going to, I was going to send you into breakout rooms, and I'm not sure about your internet now, so that's kind of challenging, but we are going to go through and create using a hyperdoc. So we looked at those yesterday. Using a hyperdoc, we were going to create a site, your own site, with team members in a breakout room. And so I was just going to send you into breakout rooms, give you all the information you needed. You would be able to work on your own site, but if you got stuck, you would be able to ask the people in your breakout room to say, hey, how do I do this? Or I can't make this work. And you have the ability to share your screen and do all those kinds of things to be able to collaborate. Each of you has a copy of the Douglas Google Site Hyperdoc, and so you are able to edit your own, answer the questions and reflect and explore on your own. But we were going to do it in a breakout room so that you could have that collaboration and discussion and support. So we'll look at creating a site and some of the editing things and some of the new things that they've thrown out there. For those of you that have Google Sites, do you have questions already of things that you are wondering about, like how do I do this or how do I do that, or something that you've tried and it isn't working for you or your students? So drop those questions in the chat. If you don't have a Google Sites, we can also answer any of your questions. So questions about Google Sites. Kim, do you want me to show that example that I shared with you? Yeah, no, I can show. Okay. So great questions. Some of them I don't even know, you guys. All right. So Google Tag is, I don't know what a Google Tag is. Does somebody know what a Google Tag is? We may have to Google Tag. So I'll write it down and I'll Google it while you're working unless somebody else knows and they can chat. All right, Shannon, you say you struggled with posting a video and you have to make it viewable by all. And so when you talk about that, so if I pop in and look at a Google site. Oh, okay, a Google tag. Okay, gotcha. Marks a location within the page and you can hyperlink to that location. Yes. So I don't think you can use them. Well, let's Google that. Let's Google that. This could make our life so much better. All right. So are you using it, Anthony? Oh, okay. So Google Tag, it is something, oh, is it class tag that you mean, Elke? Like this? Because Google Tag actually sounds like it's really cool. Okay. All right. So class tag works kind of like remind, which also, so they all work very similarly together. Um, that is something that I would definitely talk with your, at an administration level to see how you're planning on communicating holistically out. Because I know last year a lot of teachers used Remind and a lot of teachers used, and so class tag is that one. But we learned something about Google Tag, which we'll have to go in and play around with. So thanks, Anthony and Ilka, for giving us new things to explore. Showing a video, or making sure that the sharing settings, posting a video and making it viewable by all. So Shannon, my question for you about a video is, was this something that you uploaded into Google Drive and shared out? So if I when I'm creating a website, and so I'll go through and I'm just going to do a blank one, you will notice that there are some really great templates that you can go in and grab, but I'm going to just use a blank one for today's purposes. And so there's a couple of things, and Shannon, I'm glad you asked that question because so we'll do a model website. When I come in, I can change my banner, I can upload things. There are sizes that you can, if you want to make your own, I will share with you guys just a second. There's a really cool resource that gives all of the sizes to everything. And so if you want to make your own banners and headings, you can do that. So let me see if I can find it real quick. See, and that linking a channel is a great way to do that. Oh, yes, you can use the little animations. Yes. So this is one of the things that I struggle with a lot of times is like, what size are banners? And so here are the banner sizes. And so this is really awesome. If you want to make custom images, you can go in and get the banner sizes for the various resources. And Tony Vincent has some really great tools as you are looking for, or just great visuals as you're doing these things. So when we want to do a video, when we want to share something on our page, we can double click and you can bring in something. I can bring in an image, I can upload something, I can get the text, I can embed. So anything I can get an embed code, you can add. And then also I can add stuff from my drive. And so I love to be able to add things from my drive. But one of the things that I need to remember is if I don't have my sharing settings set up correctly, you won't be able to see it. And so like for example, if I pull in like this Google, your agenda, this is a Google drawing, I can pull it in. But I needed to make sure that in this document, it's actually been shared so that people, that you can view it. Same thing with videos. If I have a video in here, I need to make sure that it's shared to be able to view. And to do that, I can open it up in a new tab. And this one I can open up with Google Drawings. And so then I can go back in and I can share and view I can view my view, and I can see that anyone with the link, anyone on the internet can view this link. And so then I can embed it. And so yes, if you've got anything in Google Drive that you're trying to share to a website, you have to make it visible out to the public. So that's a great question and a great thing to remember. One of the things I try to do is I generally make a site and then I share it with a colleague and say, hey, can you see everything? Just because otherwise sometimes you can't see them. So that's kind of cool. So Shannon's sharing some fun ideas with Giphies. Oh, nice. Yes, because you can put in all the fun stuff. You can make things move. Love that. How far do I have to scroll? Ah, okay. So you've embedded videos there. And then, and Sarge, you linked YouTube, so that's awesome. All right. And so the other things when we're looking at our sites is I utilize a lot of the layouts because you can easily pull in a block, and here I can upload an image, I can add some text, I can add a link out, and so super quick to have to set up the page and not have to do a ton of different things. The other thing that I've found is, like, if I want to make more on that page, it's almost easier, or more in this block, it's easier to add another block of 4 and then just drag and drop them up. And so they'll automatically resize, and I can add or create that way. A couple of other nice things here is you can, the collapsible text. And so if you looked at your website for the Douglas training, we did that on the Douglas site. So we embedded a Google Drawings, and then we also did the collapsible text here so that you can kind of keep things a little bit tidier, but you're limited on collapsible text with what you can do with it. There isn't a lot that you can put in it. Like, I can't put in images or fun things like that. Some of the other things, you can throw in buttons, you can do dividers, placeholders, bring in directly from YouTube, your calendar, so you can embed a calendar. And that's one of the things I just did. Yes, Anthony, it is so useful when you are looking at it from a mobile device. And something else to keep in mind is it does adjust. And so there's the preview tab at the top of the page. So I can come in and I can look and see what my website looks like on a computer, on a tablet, and also on a mobile device. And so it's really easy to be able to see how it looks on all the different formats. And so I really appreciate that. If you do make a custom header, like put Bitmojis in or try to do something with your header, it does shrink towards the center, and so you'll notice you'll have to kind of keep your center. We found it works better to not put a page title, to use their title and not embed words in, because when you start adjusting it, it doesn't look very nice. So one of the questions, Kim asked me last week, I think it was, about creating a registration site for her library. So I reserved the library using a calendar. And this took like no time at all, because I didn't have to use any apps or anything. And so that was kind of fun. There are no appointment slots for this week, but we can make an appointment slot so you can see what it looks like. So I will go into my calendars. And so this is just, do you want to talk about it, Kim? What you wanted? Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a new appointment, and I have a gazillion calendars because I have a gazillion things. And so Kim wanted to be able to have people reserve the library online and everyone able to see when the times are available. And so what we did is, you'll notice that there's an option when you make a new appointment for a appointment slot. And so I'm going to make an appointment slot, and I'm going to make it for the whole day, because why not? What time do you stop working, Kim? 4:30? You can set the duration of the slots, and so I'll leave them a default 30 minutes. And then when I'm making appointments on my calendar, one of the things that always gets me is I need to make sure that I pick the right calendar. And so I'm doing reserve the library. So now I can say save. And here, I can go to the appointments page for this calendar, and that's actually what we've embedded over here. And so now when I refresh this, oops, so I'm going to view my published site. Oh, there it is. Look at that. So now if I was going to go to this published site, and I think it's been shared with you guys, so let me, yeah, nothing's been changed. So let me send out the link. And so if you click on this link, you do need to be, oh, it doesn't like it. You do need to be logged into your Google account, and that's mainly just because, or your K-12 account, because we didn't want to have it be, you have to be logged in to be able to make the appointment. But so now that I'm in and I want to view the published site, yes, I am, okay. So I can go ahead and click, I can book the appointment, and I can, and then once I do that, it'll add it to my calendar too. And so I'll have it on both. So you guys can go in and kind of see what that looks like and how that works. But the appointment slots are really nice if you want to be able to add appointments to your calendar for your class. If you want to be able to allow students to go to the calendar and click on a slot and be able to reserve a time with you, that's an option. And so Kim was going to use it for the library. The drawback for, like, if you wanted to use this for like parent-teacher conferences or something, is you can't, you have to have an account, and so you have to be logged in with like a Google account, and so I can't just post it out there publicly for anybody to be able to do it. But it's great if we are in our K-12, and we are, so you can do that. So it's kind of a fun one. And then Shannon, you said you put your blank notes and uploaded them to the web. Ooh, let's see, what did you do? So the students can quiz themselves. That was new. Do you want to explain that a little bit, Shannon? I'm not sure I'm understanding.
This is what I would show them on a smartboard presentation, and then we would fill it in together. But this way, this is blank, so they can quiz themselves.
Oh, nice. Okay. And so did you just embed this in as a
Just images.
images?
I took
Okay.
pictures from my sketchbook and made my PowerPoint so that it's all uniform.
Nice. Oh, cool. So you're just embedding it in that way. I love that. That is so cool. Thank you. So that's one of the ways that you can create, you can add the calendar in, and you can use that option with your students or with your colleagues to be able to reserve space and resources. So I do encourage you to try reserving the library just to see how well that works, because this is great. We have a captive audience. All right, other questions, thoughts, comments on Google Sites as you guys are developing your own and creating your own Google Sites? You can. And so when you go in and do a reservation, And so like if I pop in and, oh, I can see you. Look at you. Um, so you can now go back and you can click on your reservation. So you can't delete somebody else's, but you can delete your own, and then you can edit it. So you have that power. And the nice thing is, like when I'm looking at this from the public side, I can see that things are reserved. I mean, I can see they just disappear. I don't see who has them or anything. When I am me in the calendar, I can see. So like Kim would be able to see as she's making those reservations, who has them if this is her calendar. It doesn't let you do it. Okay, hold on. You should be able to. So when I click and make a reservation, and so I'm going to say demo, save, I'm going to save it. Now it says your appointment has been saved, so you should be able to go into your Google Calendar, and so it should be your personal one. And yep, because like when I'm in my personal one, now I can go over here and now I should be able to remove from this calendar, and I should also be able to delete it. Let's see, edit. Ah, did it let you go? Did it let you do stuff? Yes. Okay, good. Good, good. Now I can't make it go away, but I'm so glad you could. Oh, that's awesome. So would I like to? So don't send. That's still kept it on there. I'm wondering if I'm kind of weird because I am two different. I'm the same person twice. So I'm just gonna let it alone. But you should be able to, when I was playing around with it, you should be able to go in and delete yourself. So you can do that. But I really like that you can't see, you just see that they're blanked out, and so you can't see who else has access to it. And so that's really nice. But so this could be a really great way in your classrooms to be able to, if you wanted to schedule office hours or schedule meetings with students, that you could set this up. I use the default of 30 minutes, but you can change that when you're setting that up too, so you don't have to use the 30 minutes if you don't want to. All right. So other questions, thoughts, comments about Google Sites as we're diving into Google Sites? You can. And so that was, so I didn't know, and I agree with you, Mary, that it is kind of nice to know who else is scheduled in case you're able to share the space. I do agree with you there. And so that could be something that Kim could make the calendar entirely public so that you could see not only the appointments, but who is there. You could customize, yeah, because when I made the appointment, basically I just made a block. But if like Bell's schedule is um, give me a time slot. So if I say first period, if I wanted to just do stuff by periods, and I could say we're going to go from 8 to 8:40. Now I can change my slot duration here too, and so I could say, it's the 45 minutes, so I could do that. And at that point now, when I do it, and I save it. Oops, I made it PM, sorry. But when you make your slots, you can make them as this would just be one person's slot. They would only be able to go into that would be a 1 45-minute slot. I could do 45-minute slots throughout the day, or I could do hour slots, whatever. I mean, and so it would cover your bell schedule. So you could be as flexible with it as you wanted to. And you can set up, so like you could say I have a whole day of 20-minute slots where people can pop in. Like in Rapid, it might be kind of cool for the Friday in their online learning day, where they just do something like that, where students could sign up to come in if that was what they needed to do. Whereas during regular period times, you could just have it by class periods throughout, and people could book the library. So you could do some really cool things with the booking. Just remember, you have to be logged in with your K-12 account to be able to see, and that's just how the settings worked out the best, to be able to see everything. All right, other questions about Google Sites as we look at them a little bit more. So some of the other things that are really great, you can embed Flipgrid in here. So like yesterday we did our Flipgrid, you can embed Flipgrids. And so that's a really sweet way to share that information if you wanted to. You can also basically anything that you can add. And so one of the things that would have been, we could have done is we could have said for this week, we could have added in like blended, so today it's websites. And so I could actually go in and copy paste the topic for today and link it out, but then I could also add in a number of additional resources, to support this topic. And so if I wanted to add in more content, or if I wanted to have those resources that we always see, you can do that. So the website can just really be a great supplement to your Google Classroom, and a really great way to organize the content that you are sharing in Google Classroom. Because I do see that this could get really messy really quickly, just because of the amount of information that um, you tend to share over the course of a year. All right, so when looking at the assignment, a lot of you guys did turn in that you have websites, or you already kind of got stuff, but I do want to give you an opportunity to explore a little bit, and so I will give you the opportunity to go out, and we'll do the Google Sites hyperdoc so that you can go out. One of the nice things about this hyperdoc is it does link you out to a number of different tutorials and resources. And another one of the things that I think is really cool about the new Google Sites is they actually have a template for student portfolios. And so you could actually have your students create websites if you wanted to. And there is a template that's already built that they can use. And so I think this is kind of it's just an easy way to share, if you, especially as we're moving to online learning and having those online presences, this can be a really great way for them to develop a portfolio and share that. And those templates are already there, so you don't have to recreate the wheel. So what we're going to do is I'm going to put you guys into breakout rooms. Yes, you could have students create a website as a character for an assignment. Yes, I mean those are the kinds of things that it's so easy to do them that I do think it's definitely worth investigating. You know, ways you can use them with your students. All right, so I'm going to put you in breakout rooms of 4. You guys will have the ability to share your screens so that you can share screens and answer questions for each other. You'll also be able to ask me if you have any questions or any problems. You can always ask for help. And this is a hyperdoc, so when you are doing it, everything that you you can answer directly in the hyperdoc because everybody has their own copy. And so when you're done with this assignment, this is one of those assignments that you will have a copy in your work bubble and you'll be able to turn it in and instead of marking as done because you already have an assignment. I'll be able to monitor what you're doing both by visiting breakout rooms, and I'll also be able to check your hyperdoc and see what's happening. And so this is an opportunity to kind of go in, check out your website, see if there's something you want to add or change. If you do have an old website, you can work on if you have an old version, you can change it into the new version, et cetera, et cetera. So questions real quick before we launch into breakout room.